What if TCU shocks the world tonight? 13.5-point underdogs against Georgia. I'm trying to think what level, historically, this would be as far as upsets go. Georgia, undefeated, defending national champs. The over-under, by the way, according to DraftKings, is 63. But TCU is a 13.5-point underdog against the Georgia Bulldogs. Also, in case you're wondering, who does DraftKings think will throw for more yards tonight? Stetson Bennett or Max Duggan? If you said Stetson Bennett, you would be right. 277.5 yards. Whether for Max Duggan, 234.5 yards. But TCU will certainly rely on Max Duggan's running ability far more than Georgia will with Stetson Bennett. Yes, Pony.
We were discussing it over here during the break of what level of upset there'd be. There's been a lot of regular season historical college football upsets, but the postseason is kind of newish. It's past 15 years that there's been a postseason. There's been bowl game upsets, but those are like neutral site games or whatever. They don't mean anything, exhibition games. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, I looked some rankings, Appalachian State beating Michigan is, in our generation, I'd say, is the biggest upset, and that was a regular season game.
Yeah, but how many points was Michigan favored by? I mean, this is the national title game.
Yeah, they were probably favored by 3 touchdowns, but Appalachian State was a very good 1AA team at the time.
Yeah, I didn't view that as one of the great upsets of all time. Because Appalachian State was a quality opponent and has been. You know, they've been a very good competitive team for a long time. Now, beating Michigan at Michigan, that's the big surprise. Yes, Eaton.
Yeah, I remember that being just like one of the craziest upsets I'd ever heard of.
Yeah. Well, people didn't realize how good North Dakota State was. And North Dakota State would always start out the season, they'd play a Big Ten team, and then they'd beat a Big Ten team, and they'd be like, oh, my God. North Dakota State, although they didn't show it this weekend, but that's a great program and on par with a lot of these other schools that are Division I. Yeah, Paulie.
In the past 22 seasons, TCU football has had, I got 14 10-win seasons. They've been very good.
Yeah.
That's why this doesn't feel that big. But the past 5 years, 5 wins, 6 wins, 5 wins, 7. They had a little downturn.
Yeah, Gary Patterson did a wonderful job at TCU, but then the last couple of years, they have not been competitive. And then you start the year, you're not even ranked, and you're going to play in the national title game. You have a quarterback you're not even sure is your starting quarterback, and he's going to end up as a Heisman Trophy finalist. Do they see it through? You know, you have the neutral site here, but TCU is a 13.5-point underdog. This is where you hope that TCU is not made one-dimensional early by Georgia. Because if they jump out on top by 10 or 14, does TCU stay with, what got them there? And a lot of great teams do that. Hey, we're down 2 touchdowns. Let's continue to have our same game plan here. It's when you change it up, that's when things get out of hand. Yeah, Marv.
Does this change anything for, like, recruiting? Say if TCU ends up winning the national title. If one of these not smaller schools, but schools that aren't Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, they go to a kid's house and they say, hey, look, you guys can win a national title here. And you don't have to work, I know it's not the most important thing, but would that be a thing for, coaches when they recruit players?
I guess, but, TCU now is kind of moving up where you have an Alabama running back who's transferring to TCU. Normally it would be the other way around. And that's what you're hoping for. The reason why you get these schools that are able to compete is they're getting these players, whereas normally they wouldn't. Now in a transfer portal, you're able to go, oh, who's going to be their quarterback next year? They need a quarterback. I'm going to go there. And, TCU is going to have that national stage, and hopefully you're able to show that you're, going to be competitive against Georgia. But, these kids nowadays, they just want a chance to play. Where can I go and play? And it used to be you get locked in for 3 years. You either played or you didn't. You had no other, opportunities. I can't, if I transfer, I got to sit out. Therefore, I don't want to sit out. But the transfer portal, that's changed everything here. Anybody picking TCU outright? Seton?
I'll go TCU.
Oh, back row.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, back row v front row.
Back row v front row? Route row.
Not for a pie
Unless
or
you're
anything.
scared.
Oh, no, okay.
Unless you're
frogs.
chicken.
Okay. Do you guys want to put money on it?
Sure, money line. Straight up,
Straight up.
no points.
Straight up, no points.
For lunch.
All right,
How's that?
That's fun.
Front row, back row, lunch.
Sounds good.
Back row
All right.
lunch.
All right. All right. Is that right? Todd, you're kind of thrifty.
We don't
when
get
it
the
comes-
points. It's just straight up. Seems a little ridiculous. We're saying TCU is going to win outright. Can they get the points?